brag on my Lord? Golden brag on the trip, can I brag on my Lord? Golden brag on the trip, can I brag on my Lord? Golden brag on the trip, let me brag on my
Hello, my name is Robbie. On here, I'm Templar Knight. Every person who believes in God but does not go to a church has a story why. But it's said that whenever two or more people gather in God's name, that He is there. So this is church. Welcome. I am glad that you're here. Tonight is, a little chaotic for me. I'm looking through my notes. My first topic for a lesson was, what should I do? My second topic was, I'm unprepared. What's a busy life? Third topic. Needless to say, I couldn't figure out what to do. I had a busy week, I had a lot going on, and despite how important doing this Bible study is to me, it was not one of my highest priorities. Not this week. And I apologize to you guys for that. But there was just some other projects I was working on, other things going on that took up entirely too much of my time. So I decided that I wasn't going to jump into any of the potential series I've been working on. I just needed to come up with one Bible study to get me through to the week. And then once I've got this next week coming up, then I'll have time. But I couldn't quite figure that out either. And so this morning, I wrote a lesson. I was inspired by a song I heard cleaning up from a celebration I was a part of yesterday. Decided that would work great. And then I got home. And about 2 hours ago, I was stopped 2 hours before Bible study to take a shower, get cleaned up, and get my head right. And a song hit me. That song that I used in the intro video. I'm gonna brag on my Lord. And I was just vibing to it. And I was sitting there thinking, it's like, I have been so worried about not knowing what to talk about today that I completely spaced out all of the amazing things I could talk about today. So I went through my usual setup and did one of the first things I needed to do. I hit the Bible, because it's not a Bible study if you're not studying the Bible. So I went to my favorite Bible Gateway website and I said, what does the Bible say about boasting, about bragging about God? Guess what I found out? 2 Corinthians 10, chapter 17. As the scripture says, if you want to boast, boast only about the Lord. Okay. So I found the verse I needed. And I realized that I was overthinking everything. I was so worried about not being able to do this right that I didn't realize how easy it would be. Because my week was too busy. Why was my week too busy? Because my God is amazing. Because the God that I serve gave me too much to do. The most important thing that I did this week, I got to do a wedding renewal for my in-laws for their 50th wedding anniversary. God blessed me with that. God kept this couple together. More importantly, God put them in my life. I wish I knew exactly what I said yesterday in the ceremony, but when I dropped the script and just started talking, I started thinking about how this man who is standing here has been my role model for so long. Because the dude's amazing. He truly is. He's just a straight up good guy. And I want to be like him when I decide to grow up. Because I'm 41 years old and I am still a giant man-child. But when I grow up, that's the man I want to be. And God put him in my life. God did that. How did God put a role model in my life? He put an amazing woman in my life. God gave me a wife who is a phenomenal woman. Found her at church camp. She became my best friend. God did that. Why was I at church camp in the first place? Because I was struggling with my life and I needed a break from everything that was around me. So God put me at church camp. God did that. See, God did all of these amazing things for me because I chose to follow. Because I choose to look for these signs that He's giving me. I choose to do my best to serve. There's a song one day I'm probably going to do a lesson about because I quote it all the time. And the song literally, the chorus just chants, "Send me, I'll go." It's very simple, but it is so meaningful to me. Because it's this act of submission telling God that, hey, if you need someone, I'm that guy. Send me. I'll do it. And God blesses me for that. He has done so many amazing things. The more of my life that I let go of and I surrender to Him, the more room He's got to work. I've got a coworker who is difficult, let's say. Again, I'm a construction worker when I'm not wearing the purple polo. And construction workers have a reputation. And he's one of them. And we've got a new guy that he's training in. And this guy is, he's a born-again Christian. He's trying. He's slipping up a lot. But he's trying. Well, the rough and tumble guy likes to mess with him. He likes to speak rather negatively about faith, about God, what God can do. Hitting everyone with the usual arguments. Well, why does God let this happen? Why won't God do this? Now, I'm used to this guy. I've been working there 15 years. He's been there for like 7 or 8 of them. I'm used to his shenanigans. I'm used to the way he tries to rile me up. And he constantly speaks against God. And all I can ever say is, why would God do anything for you when you do nothing for Him? You don't need a God, you need a genie. You need someone to grant your wishes. He doesn't know God the way I do. He's waiting for God to prove Himself first. He's got the horse in front. Got the cart in front of the horse. He thinks that God should step up, change his life, fix all of his problems, and then he'll believe. That's not the way God works. God takes what you give Him, and He does something with it. I'm not saying that, oh, give your life to Christ and everything is glorious, follow God, and everything's going to be perfectly fine. Because that's not often the way it goes. In fact, I've often seen quite the opposite. When people first come to God, the devil gets a little concerned and decides to fight back. Hit them while they're still new at this. When these new Christians are starting to turn their lives around, when someone says, hey, you know what? I've said I'm a Christian for a long time, but I'm going to start to live by faith. That's when Satan tries to break that faith. That's when he comes after you. That is when it is the most important to hold on to this newfound faith you've got. To say, hey, God, devil's coming at me, but I'm trusting you through this. I can endure. I can get through this. I'm going to give you these problems. You do with it as you will. When I think about all of the amazing things that I have seen God doing in the past 18 months since I've started this ministry, since God started a ministry through me, I'm almost sitting here wondering why it took me so long to do this lesson. Why have I not been bragging about God sooner? Because I can think of all the amazing things God has done in my life. But that's easy for me, and most people don't care. I'm playing the pastor card. I'm doing the church thing already. Of course God's going to bless him. What about the people who don't? The people who are struggling? The people who aren't sure yet? The people who can't quite see God's blessings? See, for me, it's easy to see something and say, oh, God bless that. God took a part in my life here. When something great happens, it is easy for me to acknowledge him. When something bad happens, I still try and give him glory and be thankful for the experience. Be thankful for the sense of safety I get in knowing that he'll get me through this. It has been almost 3 months since I've done a lesson that I'm not reading. I got nothing on my notes here. I have a window sitting there to block chat so that I can't see it, but there's nothing there. I have no safety net, and not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous right now because I don't have the next bulletin point. Go here. After you talked about this, go here. But I know that God's gonna get me through this. I can trust him like that because he has proven himself time and time again. And how foolish would it be for me not to? Something so simple. This is what I do. This is who I am. And I should not be nervous saying, okay, you've got about 15 more minutes. Find something to talk about. But for some reason it still makes me nervous because you guys know me. I struggle with doubt. But right now, I am excited. I've got a blank slate in front of me and I can just sit here and brag about God. The one part that has me so worried is, how do I do this? And not just come off as some arrogant jerk. See, I'm not bragging about me. I don't want to brag about my life. I want to brag about the Lord and what he's done, what I've seen. Had I thought about it, I probably would have asked permission from some of the people here if I could brag about what I've seen God do in their lives. But I didn't ask permission. I don't want to call people out like that. But I'm willing to bet that if you were to look at your life, all of you could find something that you could brag about that God's done for you. Whether it's a significant other, whether it's beautiful children, or a decision you've made in your life that you've been able to stick through, or 50 years of marriage. Congratulations. For some reason, this world has us so focused on all of the negative things, and so when bad stuff happens, we blame God. Why weren't you here? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you stop this from happening? And that's the number one question I get from most non-Christians. Well, why would God let this happen? If he's all powerful, if he can do everything, why does he let this happen? Have you ever looked at all the amazing things that God also lets happen? Why do we only turn to God when things are bad? Why do we only blame him for the wrongdoings? Why is it so hard for us to brag about the great things God is doing? Why is it so hard for us to acknowledge all of the amazing things he can do? God sure did good this week. God kept me so busy that I couldn't even focus on what I should have been focusing on. God poured down so many blessings in my life. And for the last several weeks, all I've been able to do is sit there and say, I don't know what this next Bible study series is going to be about. And I was worried and scared, saying, hey God, I'm looking for the signs. I'm doing my best to give you a way to speak to me. And God hit me with so much that I couldn't even see through all of it. Because God has blessed me with some amazing friends. God has blessed me with some amazing family. He's blessed me with talents that I can use to help people. God has blessed me so much that I'm too busy to do the things I think I should be doing. Even today, God used my friends to push me to take a break. Because I was overwhelmed. I couldn't get my head together. And God used my friends to get my head back in the game. Not gonna lie, doing that wedding renewal ceremony yesterday had me stressed. And Friday night, Saturday morning, about 1:30 I woke up. I was nervous and I was scared and I couldn't focus. So I came to my computer and I sat down. And I had a friend I could talk to. I got to go and hang out with someone who normally would have been asleep. At 2 in the morning, people should be sleeping. But God had something special happen in her life that kept her streaming all night. So when I woke up at 2 a.m., I had somewhere I could go and hang out and just talk and decompress and take my mind off everything. And once I was calm again, once my mind had slowed down and the gears had stopped spinning, I could go to sleep. Because I had a big day ahead of me. See, anyone can look at that and say, oh, that was just a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. I believe that all of that happened for a reason. I believe that God knew I wasn't going to be able to sleep. And so long, long ago, He set the pieces in motion so that that small blessing could take place. You know, so often we're worried about God doing the big things that we don't stop and think about how amazing it is that He can do all these small things. When I stop and think about all of the stepping stones that we've had to go through to get here, you can't tell me coincidence is a thing. No one can sit there and tell me that God did not plan this. You can't sit there and tell me He doesn't have a plan for me, and I wouldn't believe you if you said He doesn't have a plan for you, because I know differently. I am 100% certain that God has a plan for you. That everything that has happened, He knew was going to happen. Everything that's going to happen, He knows. He's already working on it. He's sitting there saying, hey, in 3 weeks this person's going to struggle with this, so let's put this in motion so that by the time this happens, it's ready. God can do that. And when I stop and think about all of the simple and amazing things that God does every day that for some reason I forget to acknowledge, I am not worthy of this amazing God. I do not deserve Him. Because all of the simple things that go on in my life, that's amazing that God let that happen. I was used to hear people say, you know, I got out of bed today, and for that I'm thankful, because God let me wake up. And I forget that. I forget to be thankful that I woke up. I forget to be thankful for the food that I get to eat. I forget to be thankful for the people He puts in my life. Because God is capable of such amazing works. I know tonight's been a bit of a ramble. I got nothing to read. I've just been talking to that guy staring back at me in the camera. But if there is anything I hope you can take away from this, is that God is capable of amazing things that He can make seem so simple. So I've got homework for you, if you choose to do it. As you go throughout this week, take a look at all of the amazing things God has done, all of the things He is doing. And take a minute and brag about God. Acknowledge what He's done. Even if you're just talking to Him about it, say, dude, God, you did that? That was amazing. That was so awesome, Lord. Thank you. Because if there's one thing I've learned I need to do a bit more, I need to brag on my lord.
Can I brag on my lord? Golden brag on the trip. Can I brag on my lord? Golden brag on the trip. Can I brag on my